Okay, so this is a big one, right? I mean, I think we've all thought about this at some point. Like, what's the path,
Mhm.
to God, to heaven, to that, like, ultimate destination?
Yeah.
It's a question that's fueled what countless debates, philosophies,
Oh,
really
wow.
intense podcast episodes like this one, huh? But you're specifically curious about the viewpoint that, well, that Jesus Christ is the only way to get the salvation, and you've given us some pretty intense sources to dive into here.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Is Jesus the only way to heaven? The Bible's uncompromising answer, and why can't good works save you? Discover the one true path to God.
Whoa, just from the title.
I know, right?
You can tell these
They
authors.
have some strong
Yeah,
opinions.
definitely strong convictions.
For sure. So it seems like a question with some, well, pretty high stakes.
Incredibly high stakes. I mean,
Mm.
for centuries, people have been wrestling with this idea of eternity
Oh, yeah.
and what it means for how we live our lives right now.
Right. So it's like every action, every decision, it
Yeah.
all carries eternal weight.
These sources definitely lean into that.
Yeah, they do. And they don't waste any time. Like they jump right into challenging this assumption that being a good person, that's your ticket in.
Right, like just rack up enough good deeds and you're good to go.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because they start with this example that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Okay.
Like imagine someone who they do good things, right?
Mhm.
They volunteer, they give to the homeless,
Hmm.
but maybe they also have some not so great habits like gossiping.
Right, right.
So the question they pose is, do those things cancel each other out?
Yeah, can you just like balance the scales with enough good stuff to outweigh the bad?
Right.
But these sources are like, nope. And they bring in Ephesians 2:8 to 9 to back it up, which is all about this idea that salvation is a gift, not something you earn.
Exactly. Grace, not works. And that concept of grace, it's been debated by theologians for centuries. Like,
Oh, I bet.
does it diminish our free will? Do our actions become meaningless? They don't really delve into all of that,
Right.
but it's definitely something to think about.
I mean, it's almost like imagine, a king offering a pardon to a prisoner.
Okay.
The prisoner doesn't deserve to be freed,
Right.
but the king extends mercy.
Wow.
It's that kind of imagery they use.
That's powerful.
It makes you think.
Yeah, for sure. And they even quote Isaiah 64.6,
Mm-hmm.
which, oh man, it uses this really striking image
Uh,
about our attempts at righteousness being like like filthy rags
Whoa.
in God's eyes. It's intense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, good works alone aren't enough.
Nope.
But then what about religion? Surely being devout, knowing the scripture, that's got to count for something, right? I mean, that takes effort.
Right, you would think.
Yeah.
But that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They argue that even adhering to religious practices, it doesn't automatically guarantee salvation.
Really?
Yeah, they cite Galatians 2.16, which emphasizes that true faith is about a heart transformed by belief in Jesus,
Oh.
not just outward actions or rituals.
So not just like checking boxes or following the rules perfectly.
Yeah.
It's more about like an internal change.
Precisely. And it kind of raises the question about the purpose of religion.
Yeah, like what is it actually about?
Is it about achieving salvation through our efforts? Or is it about fostering a relationship with God through faith? And these sources, they definitely lean towards that second one.
Interesting. And that leads us to, I think, maybe the most well-known part and probably controversial part of this belief system
Yeah.
that Jesus is the only way to reach God.
Hmm.
There's no other door, no side entrance.
No secret passageway.
They quote John 14:6 directly. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I mean, those words alone, they've started so many debates, right?
Oh, countless theological debates and interpretations.
It does seem, on the surface, pretty exclusive, right?
Yeah.
How do these sources explain that? Do they address why it causes so much debate?
They explain it through the concept of atonement, which means, basically, that Jesus' death on the cross, it paid the price for humanity's sins.
So, like, we're all in debt because of our wrongdoing, and Jesus steps in to settle the account.
Exactly. We can't earn our way out of it through good deeds or religious practices, but Jesus' sacrifice, that bridges the gap.
Okay, I see. And they don't shy away from the consequences of not accepting this atonement, right?
Right. They talk about hell and the devil, emphasizing how serious this choice is.
It's intense stuff. It really is. But even if someone doesn't agree with the specifics of all this,
Yeah.
can we still, appreciate how deeply they believe this?
Absolutely. Understanding these core beliefs,
Yeah.
it helps us grasp what's at stake for them.
Mm.
It's not just about rules. It's about a worldview
Right.
that shapes everything.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's about way more than just, checking off boxes.
Exactly.
It's about a whole way of life. So, okay, we've talked about what these sources say doesn't get you to heaven, but what does accepting Jesus offer according to them? I mean, it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff, right?
Right. It's not just about the afterlife. They talk about how accepting Jesus can actually lead to a more fulfilling life right now,
Interesting.
like experiencing peace, guidance, and strength, even when things are tough. It's like you're tapping into this source of inner strength that's bigger than yourself.
I can see that.
Thank-
Even outside of religion, like, don't we all want that peace and purpose?
Absolutely, and there's actually some psychology behind it.
Oh, really?
Studies show that faith can help people cope with stress. It gives them a sense of meaning, of connection, and that can make them more resilient.
Okay, so they're saying it's not just about the afterlife, it's about finding a better way to live right here, right now.
Exactly.
And then they go on to outline specific steps for how to accept Jesus for anyone who, feels drawn to this.
Right. So they talk about acknowledging your sinfulness, believing in Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection, which, just so everyone knows, means rising from the dead
Right.
and committing your life to following his teachings.
It's a lot, but they're clear about it being a personal choice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about aligning your beliefs with your actions. Not about being pressured, but about choosing a path that truly resonates with you.
So for someone who hears all of this and is like, wow, this actually makes sense to me, what does that commitment look like? What are the practical next steps?
They emphasize studying the Bible, connecting with other believers, and trying to live a life that reflects Jesus' teachings.
So it's about putting those values, love, compassion, forgiveness, into action. Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Precisely. It's about letting those beliefs shape how you interact with the world.
How you treat others, how you respond to challenges.
Yeah, it's a way of life.
Not just a set of beliefs. Even if someone isn't ready to fully embrace all of this, there's still something valuable here.
Oh, yeah.
Like self-reflection, seeking a deeper purpose, trying to live in line with your values.
Absolutely. Those are universally beneficial.
Right. And it all comes back to that central question.
Of how to reach God, how to find that ultimate connection.
Exactly. These sources offer a very specific answer.
They do.
But the themes, they resonate on a much broader level.
Definitely. And listener, we'd love to know what stands out to you, what resonates, what challenges you, what questions are you left with?
There's one thing in particular the sources didn't directly address, but I think it's worth pondering. They claim that Jesus provides peace even in the middle of hardship. What does that say about suffering and faith?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how we approach challenges in our own lives. If true peace comes from a source that transcends our circumstances, like they say, does that mean we can find hope even in the darkest times?
It's a powerful thought. It speaks to the potential of faith to provide resilience and strength when we're facing really tough stuff.
It really invites us to consider how our beliefs shape how we experience the world, both the good and the bad.
Right. Our perspective can really impact how we navigate the ups and downs of life. So, listener, we'll leave you with that question.
Yeah.
How do you define peace and purpose? Does the idea of faith, however that looks for you, does it offer you a source of strength and guidance?
Take some time to reflect on these ideas. Think about how they might apply to your journey, your search for meaning, and your understanding of these big questions we've talked about.
We'd love to hear your reflections. Share them with us. This is just the beginning of the conversation.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking. You might be surprised by what you find.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into such a profound topic. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of people out there, each with their own perspective and wisdom. So talk to them, listen with an open heart, and let those viewpoints enrich your own understanding.
Love that, because ultimately, this journey of faith, just like life itself, it's all about asking questions, seeking understanding, and finding what resonates in your heart and soul.
And even in the midst of uncertainty, there's always hope, meaning to be made, and connections to be forged.
It strikes me that even though these sources lay out, a very specific path to salvation,
Yeah.
the human experience of searching for meaning, for purpose, it's so diverse.
Absolutely. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, their answer is very defined.
Right.
But how it actually connects with each person, it's going to be unique. like a fingerprint.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's so important to be open-minded
Oh, for sure.
and respectful of all those different viewpoints.
Yeah.
It's not about making everyone fit into one box.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the beauty of individual journeys.
Exactly. And even within this specific belief system, there's still so much room for growth, for exploration, for understanding.
Yeah, it's not like you reach a point and suddenly have all the answers.
Yeah.
It's more about embracing the mystery and continuing to learn and evolve. Like maybe the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And that curiosity, that willingness to really wrestle with the tough questions, I think that's something we can all cultivate no matter what we believe.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into these sources, I think a key takeaway is this. Even if you don't agree with every single point they make,
Mm-hmm.
the core questions they're grappling with, that desire for connection, the search for meaning, that longing for something bigger than ourselves,
Yeah.
those are universal.
They really are.
Yeah.
And engaging with those questions, honestly and openly, it can lead to some pretty profound insights,
Right.
a richer understanding of ourselves and the world.
Even if we don't end up with all the answers, the
Yeah.
process of searching, that's valuable in itself.
Absolutely. So listener, wherever you are on your own journey,
Yeah.
we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking.
Yeah, be surprised by what you find.
And remember, you're not alone. There's a whole community of people out there who are also searching, each with their own unique perspective.
That's true.
So talk to them, listen with an open heart, and let their viewpoints enrich your own understanding.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking.
It's interesting because even though these sources give like this very clear path to salvation,
Yeah.
the actual human experience, trying to find meaning, find your purpose, it's just so diverse.
It really is. I mean, their answer's pretty cut and dry,
Right.
but how it actually resonates with each person, it's going to be totally unique, like their own, their own fingerprint.
Exactly. And that's why I think being open-minded is so important.
Oh, totally.
And respectful of all those different viewpoints, It's not about forcing everyone into the same mold.
Right, right.
It's about acknowledging, the beauty of those individual journeys. Exactly. And, even within this specific belief system, there's still room to grow, to explore,
Oh,
to
yeah.
deepen your understanding over time.
It's not about just reaching some point and having all the answers.
Right.
It's more about embracing the mystery of it all
Yeah.
and continuing to learn and evolve. Maybe the journey itself is just as important as where you end up.
That's a really beautiful way to put it. And that curiosity, that willingness to really engage with those tough questions, with those doubts.
Yeah.
I think that's something we can all work on no matter what our beliefs are.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into these sources, I think the biggest takeaway for me is this. Whether or not you agree with every single thing they say, the core questions they're dealing with, that desire for connection, the search for meaning, that longing for something bigger than ourselves,
Absolutely.
those are universal.
They really are. And, facing those questions head on, honestly and openly, it can lead to some really deep insights, a richer understanding of, ourselves and the world.
Even if we don't walk away with all the answers,
yeah.
the search itself, that's valuable.
Absolutely. So listener, wherever you're at on your own journey, we encourage you to keep going, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking.
You might be surprised what you find along the way.
And remember, you are not alone in this. There's a whole community of people out there who are also on that search, each with their own unique perspective, their own wisdom.
Yeah.
So talk to them, really listen with an open heart and let those viewpoints enrich your own understanding.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into such a profound topic. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking.
Yes, because ultimately, this journey of faith, just like life, it's about asking those questions, seeking that understanding, and finding what truly speaks to your heart.
That's it. That's it. And even when things feel uncertain, remember, there's always hope, there's always meaning to be found, and there are always connections to be made.